Welcome back, dear viewers, and you are still watching the Breakfast Show. And in this segment of our program, we will talk about the tripartite summit that took place yesterday in Egypt, as the President Abdel hosted the Jordanian King Abdullah and the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas to discuss the latest developments in the Palestinian territories and to shed more light on the importance of this summit. We are joined over the phone by Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good morning, sir. Ambassador Gamal Bayoumi, good morning.
Excuse me, Dr. Mohamed is here with you.
Sorry, Sir Dr. Amr, good morning. Yes, sir, as I've just mentioned, that the President yesterday hosted a tripartite summit. Can you tell us more about the significance of this summit?
Hello?
Yes, Dr. Amr?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay.
So can you tell us more about the significance of this summit?
Actually, mostly of experts, we could really see how it's Egypt will play a great role in the region, okay, and for most of the issues.
Yes.
And this Triple C summit yesterday representing how to need to preserving the legitimating of Palestinian rights and continuously joint efforts to achieving this comprehensively and joining to latest piece which is based on this two solution for Palestinians and Israelis, the two countries. And according to the Egypt, the vision for how to the pushing for the peace process in the region, according to the mostly recently crisis, which is a try to make obstacles for the peace process in the region. However, as with implies this independence and sovereignty for the for the Palestinian state. According to the mostly of accordance of international law and relevant international legitimate solution. And Arabis and and innovative recently. The summit was try to discuss the developments of the Palestinian cause and the right of the current development and the occupation for Palestinian territories and the religion and the international situation as mostly of working this. And during the meeting, mostly of expressions during the train of the leaders of the Mr. President Abdel so King Abdullah, even Mr. Abu Mazen, tried to express the full support for the effort to the circumstances of the Palestinian and during the road of increasing the region and international challenging, as we know.
Yes, Dr. Mohamed Abdel, Professor of Political Science, how do you see the recent escalations in the Palestinian territories in the past days?
According even for what they try to the expressing yesterday, they stress the needing for international community actually to providing a protection for the Palestinian people and their legitimate rights to join the efforts about their political heroism and how would we relaunch the serious and effective negotiation to resolving the Palestinian issue, which is built on the two-state solutions. And mostly of so know that is the warning of dangers of actually the situation over there and to continuously of absence of political horizons, it could be restrictions on security and stability over there. The Israeli ministry, the occupation campus of Al-Aqsa Mosque, and the demanded of the creation of illegal and limitation of Israeli measures of undermine the two-state solution. It could really achieving just as a comprehensive peace, and so which is could really including the settlements of some conflictions of Palestinian land and home. Demolition or displacement of Palestinians from their homes and continuously the Israeli incursion into Palestinian cities and the violation of horizontal and legal state codes and Jerusalem and the sanction over there.
Yes, Dr. Abdelazim, to what extent you see the role, do you see the role of the international community in taking serious and effective measures to alleviate deteriorating living conditions of Palestinian people in Gaza Strip?
What we then concluded from that is mostly that the Palestinian rank is an end of the invasion because it's interested and necessary for Palestinian people to impact the unity of position for the Gaza Strip and try to solidarity in defending its causes, and is how to needing to take actually seriously and effective measurement to relative the training of living conditions for people over there in Gaza Strip. There's the Jordanian monarchy and the Mr. Abbas Abu Mazen, which try to representing the Egyptian effort to express the maintaining of the communists in the Gaza Strip and rebuilding the strip over there and wanting to refrain the responsibility of international donors over there all the world to reconstruction efforts in the strip. And actually, what the leaders of the summit yesterday tried to highlight the importance of international community rule to continue supporting for the Palestinian people, the United Nations relieving the works over there was even tuning into providing financial support to continuously services for the Palestinian people or even refugees in accordance of the United Nations mandate, and especially mostly the right for importantly about the humanitarian and development of agencies, plays benefits for children or refugees over there too for general people.
So, sir, how important is uniting the Palestinian ranks and ending divisions, which has become a necessity for the Palestinian people?
It's kind of crystallized vision for activist effort to unite the Palestinian people to resume the negotiations according to work with the all partners which are leaving the peace process itself, because according to approved terms of references with a framework to effort to helping the Palestinian people how to obtain all their legitimate rights, and for mostly of which is right to freedom and independence of sovereignty and their national. Actually, the summit for yesterday presenting the role of how can we figure this kind of summits to presenting the construction of permanent condition and cooperation with the various issues, and to make mainly ground for negotiation for all rights of Palestinian people. And actually the most topics over there to figure out the mainly solution for them, and to let them understanding the dangers of the situation. Actually, we can really meet more opportunities as we did way before.
Yes, sir. How do you evaluate Egypt's efforts to rebuild the Gaza Strip?
Mostly of all world understanding the remarkable efforts by Egyptian rule actually towards the Palestinians during all the historical movement and taking places for mostly working actually to supporting the Palestinian people. Mostly of time Egypt to try to make a donation for Egyptian people, and actually try to make despite of its challenges according to the old world, and try to make us economically and politically and even socially supporting for Palestinian people generally and for Gaza Strip specifically on the diplomatic and politically aspect to try to make a reconciliation agreement for them, and to returning the scorations for Palestinian, and in addition to hosting hundreds of meetings to unify the rankings of Palestinian and providing them to necessary advices and supporting Palestinian national project itself. it's obviously how to the Egyptian, president and the Egyptian regime generally try to supporting the rule with reminding of private rule in Palestinian causes and make of mostly sincere and believing causes in Egyptian people to sacrifice the thousands of amateurs supporting Palestinian during all the history of two countries relation.
So, sir, how do you see the importance of the international community continuing to support the United Nations Relief and Works Agency UNRWA and the need to provide the financial support to them to continue providing vital services for Palestinian refugees?
Most of the time, we have to understand the political, the political life depends on just how to work in with different kind of tracks. And most of that we have to work on organizationally aspect with United Nations agencies, with UNRWA and let the international community in front of this, responsibilities toward the Palestinian people was really suffering for all the loss of the gate from just unbalanced decisions and just avoiding the rules, okay, from the international community. Actually, what's the rule of media to supporting the needs and the rights for Israelis people and seeking to create like a temple and some spiritual spaces for them and embolden the feet of council and the magazines the Palestinians on their land. So actually, the international recognition and some commanders who offers some sanctions on. From all over the world countries to stressing the Israeli to try to implement the Islamic and Christian religions toward over there in this region. One of the mostly important steps which is tried to shows yesterday by the expressing results and conclusion from the Tribal Summit.
So, sir, how do you see the keenness of Egypt and Jordan to preserve the historical and legal status quo in Jerusalem?
There's coordination usually between the three countries, especially from Jordan in Egypt, and this kind of summit represents mostly of the conclusion for the, talks and coordination, this policy which is representing the level of a higher, closing relation between two countries for mostly of the issues and problems in the region, especially for the Palestinian issues. And what we can really get from, the Egypt and Jordanians rules that try to make a timing of reflecting the importance and consider the formulation of the new Israeli government, how to take in a more extreme approaches in extending the settlements and the Israeli desiring to make like generosity of the West Bank too. Mostly of recently reports to try to make like figure out there's a summit to try to do or seeking to send the messages to pay attention more for the Palestinian cause, and it's not possible. It's not really impossible to pushing the peace process and for peace and stability for a region and find a solution for the for Palestinian people.
So, sir, finally, I'd like to ask you if what are the measures that should be taken to face these escalations by Israeli troops? Do you expect it will come to an end soon? And what are the reasons behind these escalations?
We can really understand that the mostly of the crisis, as I mentioned, okay, for the international community, there's presenting. Regardless, or just for the region of the Middle East problems, and one of them is Palestinian people issues, and expressing the creating and regional international developments and the global international arena, try to dictate that is simply of Palestinian causes about that. That after the declaration about the new government for Israel and was leading by Benjamin Netanyahu as a new prime minister, they believe that the successful of for finding opportunities to pushing the peace process will not be able right now, but. Or even I mean just with the very nearest months. But what I mean from here, how to make like a very massive and great speeches for all the world that is we have to understanding the suffering and we have a problem actually. It's a measurement for that, and the escalation will not be a solution, but we have to figure out the new solution for Palestinian people and other problems in the region.
Yes, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Mohamed Abdel Azim, Professor of Political Science. Thank you, sir, for being with us. And as we've just mentioned, that President Fattah al-Sisi held the tripartite summit in Cairo on Tuesday that brought together the King of Jordan, King Abdullah II, and the Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas to discuss the latest developments in the Palestinian cause in light of the current developments in the occupied territories and the related regional and international situations. Short break, viewers, and we'll be back with our second segment for today, so stay tuned.